I am the Director of Sales Ops Strategy and Programs here at UiPath. Been with the company for coming up on 2 years, and it has been a blast working for this rocket ship so far. Sales tools are always a fun one, right? Everyone's always come to the table with one tool or another, or they think that this software is just going to solve all the problems, right? And we all, of course, know that that ends up not being the case when you actually work through it, and especially now with just a fantastically different working environment. We've all been, I think, a lot of us forced to adapt to software or digital solutions more so than the past. So the way that we think about it, or at least that I think about it in my role, is looking at how can we have a really flexible solution that will meet the users or the customers. In my case, that's our sellers and sales ops, where they are, right? So it's not trying to get them necessarily to change the way they're working to match it to some specific software. I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to apply UiPath software here at UiPath. So that's generally the approach we use, is looking at, okay, thinking through a salesperson's day, and then looking at automating first, right? So automation first is the key mindset. And just providing an example, you have sellers that hate updating the CRM, and you have sales managers that need the information in the CRM to coach deals. So take MedPick as a classic example, right? How do you have a system where the information's in the CRM already in some cases, and in other cases it's not because the seller didn't put it in there. But then for the deal review, you get a sales manager who then goes back to the reps and says, hey, could you fill out this form? I don't want to look at Salesforce, right? It's too complicated. So this is classic. This happens in almost every organization you can talk to. So we said, well, how can we think about this automation first and have both sides meet? And what we did was we built a bot where you have on one side, the seller is able to update a Word document template that they're more comfortable with. And then those updates can push to Salesforce and it updates automatically. And then on the other side, the sales manager can run the bot and see all their opportunities that they're talking through in that deal review, organized through that MedPick lens so that they don't have to click through Salesforce and have that much heavier experience that you can see. So it was a really fun way, customizable solution, and we got it off the ground in a couple days versus having to look at installing another tool or another software solution. It's just a methodology to look at a deal or an opportunity across the letters there and ensure that you have everything in place so that the deal will happen and that there's no surprises. So, as far as what MedPick actually stands for example, you've got like the M in metrics, you've got economic buyer, decision criteria, so on and so forth. I think that a lot of us ended up in a much more digital workforce than we were before, and it happened like that. It was forced, right? So, and what I mean by digital in this concept is, conversations over Zoom, much more back and forth over email, even Slack, right? So everything that you're doing now is leaving this digital footprint, and I think it's useful to, now that we've been in this thing for long enough, look back and say, all right, we just stepped into all these processes. Some of them were rushed, right? Because we had to get the business going again in this new digital environment. why don't we pause and say, okay, can we now look back at these and streamline any of these processes and think through them again with an automation first concept, right? Because the name of the game here is to keep our sellers selling, right? And not do admin work. Keep our sales ops doing value add core, thinking in terms of forecasting, quota setting, what they do best, not the admin part of the work. So it's looking at all the administrative burden that was created from this rapid shift to digitalization and thinking back through how can we now automate some of that away to get people back to having a healthy balance with what they're doing versus just burning out. For 2021, I think it's the opportunity, it's the conscious decision to do that, right? Instead of the accident that was 2020, it's 2021, I think should be the year of intention, right? It's looking back at okay, that's the strategy now, is intentionally becoming digital, where maybe we rushed in some areas. Let's look back at that. Let's smooth out those transitions that were maybe too rocky. I think that's the biggest opportunity here.